everybody. Um, Thought I'd hop on tonight to speak a little about Andrea Knable since I don't see much about her. Um, I see a lot about her. Her sister Erin posts about her. I just don't see a lot of creators talking about her anymore. And part of me wonders if that slowed down because of all the updates and the breaks in the Bardstown 3 case. And those are exciting and those are interesting and fun to dig. And we definitely want to keep up with those because Crystal, Jason, and Tommy all deserve justice. And we're definitely going to keep talking about those. However, I would also like to see us talk about Andrea and see more creators talk about Andrea as well. She's very close to that area. She's in Louisville. However, everybody wants to say that here at home. We call it Louisville. But she's from up in there. And she's been missing since 2019, and her family desperately wants her home. Andrea actually, looked for a missing friend and advocated for the missing. And then here she is missing herself. So the least we can do is advocate for her because that goes to show you never know which one of us it's going to be, ever. Any of us, none of us are immune to it. Any of us can go missing. Whatever's happened, none of us is immune to it. The first thing I want to look at is Uncovered. I found this page just skimming over her case, and I thought it had a lot of great information in it. It looks like they let different ones contribute to the case. So we got to take this information, maybe not factual, but from what I've seen of it so far, it looks pretty close. Hi, Ida. How are you? Yeah, none of us are immune to it, girl. We know that all too well. I know I've been in situations where it could have been me. I've made decisions where I could have took the risk for it to have been me more. None of us are immune, but she's beautiful. She's a beautiful girl. Andrea Knable. She's a mother of 2, and she works with Missing in America and then went missing herself. Chilling, really. We do have a timeline. Let me expand this here. Andrea Michelle Knable, pronounced Knable, was a 37-year-old mother of 2 when she vanished. Andrea was an active member of Missing in America, a group that focuses on finding missing people in the Louisville area. Her family said she had a giant heart and was always willing to help others. They also say she loved her children deeply while being an amazing daughter, sister, mother, and friend. So it says that before she went missing, that Andrea fell on hard times, which I'm sure we all know what that's like. Everybody's had a hard time in their life. Said she was laid off from her job at Humana and then got into a hit-and-run car accident, leaving her without a vehicle. During this time, Andrea was still living in her home. She had a roommate and was working different jobs. It was when her roommate moved out that Andrea moved in with her mother at the start of the summer at 2019. At this time, Cheryl's home was undergoing bathroom renovations. However, Cheryl was not living at the home during the construction. Sarah and Ethan were the ones helping with renovations and decided to stay at the home because they lived over an hour away in Lexington, Kentucky. According to Andrea's other sister, Erin, Cheryl would stop over every evening to have dinner with everyone and check in the construction progress. Andrea and her boys, Sarah and her fiance, Ethan, were the ones living in the home. So her mother owned the home and had moved out for renovations. Sarah and Ethan's are the ones that are doing the constructions on the home, and they live there with Andrea and her 2 boys. The day Andrea went missing, Andrea Knable was last seen sometime between the night of August 12, 2019 and the early morning hours of August 13, 2019. On the evening of August 12, 2019, Cheryl brought over Chinese food. While eating, Cheryl started a difficult conversation highlighting Andrea's recent life choices that she didn't agree with, noting specific poor choices that were setting back Andrea's progress, quote unquote, to a new life. Andrea felt uncomfortable being present for the conversation and became more upset when her sister Sarah chimed in to back up the concerns. So, and guys, I'm not a specialist on this case. This is the first time I'm deep diving it, so I've got to go back up here and see if I can start to put this picture together since we're getting names. I'm the worst with names. Sarah and Ethan. Okay, so it was her sister, Sarah. I assume that Sarah and Ethan is her sister and her sister's fiance. And if I'm incorrect, let me know. I'll correct myself. But that's what I'm gathering so far. Andrea was visibly upset with her family, and she excused herself from dinner. After things settled down, Andrea went to McDonald's with her nephew and sister's fiance, Ethan. Yeah, she had an argument with family. Her mom jumped her, and my mom still does that to me. I'm 37 years old. My mama still gets me. But anyways, so that Andrea had excused herself from dinner. After things settled down, Andrea went to McDonald's with her nephew and sister's fiance, Ethan. After McDonald's, Ethan brought Andrea to the Kentucky One Medical Center for treatment from a face rash around 9:15. By 11:22, she was released from the hospital and took a lift back to her mother's house, returning at 11:34 p.m. Andrea was given a Lyft gift card, but it wasn't working, so Andrea had to use her own money. Andrea couldn't get into the home because she didn't have a key. So I assume that investigators have confirmed with a Lyft driver that they picked up Andrea and they tried a gift card that didn't go through and she went ahead and used cash. Andrea couldn't get into the home because she didn't have a key. By midnight, now August 13th, she walked to her other sister Erin's home, located approximately 1.5 miles away. Andrea took a shortcut near a walking bridge. Upon arriving at Erin's home, it was clear that Andrea was visibly upset regarding the recent fight between Sarah, Ethan, and her mom. Excuse me. Earlier that evening. Andrea said she felt ganged up on. Erin tried to console her sister and drove her back to their mom's house, hoping the situation would have blown over. On August 13th at 1:34 a.m., despite being driven over by Erin, Andrea still did not have a key to the home and couldn't get in. Sarah and Ethan were inside sleeping, so they never answered the door. This prompted Andrea to walk back to Erin's house a second time. So now she's went back to Erin's house twice. Yeah. Oh, she does. She does. Her family is so caring, Ada. Like, I'm sure you see on social media. Erin's a very big presence on social media. Erin Knable. She's constantly advocating for the missing and for her sister, and specifically, but also just not her sister. You see her sharing several missing stories. So yeah, good people, really good people, and I'm sure a really great mama. Sorry about that. When Andrea arrived and asked Erin if she could sleep over, Erin said no because she needed to set a boundary. Erin had to work the next day, and her home was also under renovation, so her children were sleeping downstairs during this time. This added to Erin's reasoning for not wanting to let Andrea stay over. After having the difficult conversation, Erin recalls looking out her window and seeing Andrea scrolling on her phone outside, and that her temperament seemed more composed. That breaks my heart. I know that had to been hard for her. It's hard, but sometimes we have to set boundaries with our siblings. I'm sure that was the toughest one she's ever set. Andrea left Erin's home for the final time and returned back to her mom's house on foot at 1:34 a.m. On August 13th, per Andrea's cell phone data, she arrived back at her mother's home by 1:45 a.m. It was assumed that she was not let into the house because Sarah and Ethan were sleeping, but when the pair were re-interviewed later by police, they told investigators that they were awake but didn't let her in because they feared Andrea being too upset from the tense dinner conversation. Even hours later, Andrea's cell phone was still active at 3:51 a.m., pinging around her mother's house. This is the last known activity that proved Andrea was alive and near the house. By the morning, Andrea had vanished. Andrea was last seen wearing a light-colored tank top, white shorts, and light-colored Nike shoes. During this time, the family started to shine on a light on Andrea's disappearance through social and local media. There have been alleged sightings in the Clarksonville, Jeffersonville, and New Albany, Indiana areas around October of 2019. On November 27, 2019, Andrea's family noticed a gold Chevy Impala believed to be a 2004 or 2005 model with license plate 637ZLA was reportedly seen driving past Erin's home. The windows were tinted, but they could see a thin white male was driving in and a thin white woman was in the passenger seat. When authorities ran the plates, they came back as stolen, but they have not recovered the car. This incident has alarmed the Knable family because they fear Andrea fell victim to human trafficking. Wow. I didn't know this. That gives me chills. I didn't know about the car. Hey, Connie, how are you? I hope you're doing good, hon. We're talking about Andrea Knable tonight. All that stir and all that news with the Bardstown 3 has put her on my mind because I don't hear as much about her. I don't hear as many creators talking about her since the news started breaking on Brooke Houck's arrest, which is good. People need to talk about that, but I thought we'd talk about her tonight because she doesn't get much coverage anymore that I've been seeing. But see, I didn't know that her family thought that she may have fell victim to human trafficking. I didn't know about the car, about the Impala. What's up with these Impalas? Last night it was an Impala in that case too. A Chevy Impala, huh? So if a stranger in a Chevy Impala offers you a ride, please say no. They don't have a good track record, guys. That and Ford Explorers. Thank you, Connie. It says that today Andrea's case is still unsolved. In 2021, the Discovery Channel released a 4-part docuseries called Finding Andrea. Has anybody watched that? Which has brought more attention to the case. Andrea is described as 5'7" and weighs approximately 180 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. Her ears are pierced and she may have scarring on her face. Erin, Andrea's sister, and her father, Michael, are still actively advocating for Andrea and conducting frequent searches. If you have any information, please contact Louisville Metro Police Department, Missing Persons Division, 502-574-7120. There is a $10,000 reward. Wow. I don't know why people don't. I'm telling you what, $10,000 to make a difference in my life right now around the holidays. So, whoever has anything to do with this, better be glad I don't know, because I'd be making $10,000. That's crazy. There's a $10,000 reward and no one's come forward. It always shocks me to see these. I know that $10,000 isn't a lot these days, but still, just to open your mouth and say a little something, that's easy money. Exactly. People need to talk for sure. But I haven't seen the Discovery special. I heard that it was really good, and I think I'll go back and watch it, but I haven't seen it yet. So that little website is cool. That had a lot of information on it. Let's see. I'm going to go on over to their Facebook group now. I thought we could scroll it a little bit. So if you're on my extra Facebook account, on my Misty Eyes account, let's not message me unless we want everybody to see. Is there a way to keep from your messenger popping? I never have any luck with that. Okay, so this is their Facebook. It's her Facebook page, Finding Andrea. It's her group, I guess. $10,000 reward. She's a beautiful girl. She's so beautiful. Let's see what that said. So they say many of you have asked how you can help, and they have something that everyone can do. In their free time, they look for neighborhood groups or missing groups for different areas of the county and share Andrea's posts to all of them each time that they post in there. Sometimes it's 70 times or more. So there's wanting people to get together and do that. I think that's really cool. And that's a good idea. That's kind of what I do when I'm working a case. If I'm digging it, and I make a poster or something, I'll go start dropping it in the Facebook groups like that. or if we're advocating for a certain case, that's what we do, and it works. I mean, it gets people talking, it gets attention. That just has her description again. Oh, I hate knowing that people have missing loved ones at the holidays here. Saying it's hard to believe this will be the 4th Christmas without Andrea. Oh, so beautiful. So happy looking. Which I know a photo is just a photo. Here, let's see what else we can find, and then we'll come back to this. We can look at her pictures later. I want to look at a couple news articles. I always like to see if there's something that I'm missing, you know. Hey, Level, how are you? It's good to see you in here. Talking about Andrea Knable tonight. After all that rip roar that went on with Bardstown 3 case, I just feel like I don't see many creators talking about her anymore. And I know Erin's really vocal, and she does really good. I see her on my page at least 3 times a day sharing this case and other missing cases. So, but this is from WLKY, and we're going to watch this and see what information we can get out of this one.
January 7th is Andrea's 40th birthday. Her sister and friends spent New Year's Day out searching for any sign.
And so this article is from 2 years after she was missing. So I think 2021.
Of her in a new documentary recently aired, which her father says has sparked more interest in her case.
It's New Year's Day.
Despite the rainy weather, the search went on. This time they focused on Audubon Park to Belmar Avenue. Her sister Erin was the last one to see her alive.
She was calling her friends after she left my house. She wasn't ready to go to sleep. She was wanting to stay up and like hang out and probably distract herself from, people do that a lot when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Since the premiere of the docuseries Finding Andrea, her father, Mike Knable, says people all over the world have reached out with concerns about her case. But in the documentary, fingers are pointed at family members. Andrea is described as having multiple personalities. Her sister, Erin Knable, says it was hard to watch, given that her sister was struggling with substance abuse before her disappearance.
We had a lot of advice during that time period, saying that we need to not enable her. And I feel terrible about that because I'd rather enable her the rest of my life than go through this,
Both Erin and their father, Mike Knable, have been actively searching for Andrea. They've hired a private investigator who is shown in the docuseries interviewing several people Andrea knew well. In their most recent ground search, they found a bone, which, according to Mike Knable, was turned over to a forensics examiner, and they found a sealed drum. Now, at this point, Mike Knable just wants closure in his daughter's case.
I am not immune to hearing things from the so-called experts, which are law enforcement. And every single one of them have told me she's gone, the high probability. But we have no sign of life nor death in this case right now. So we are hopeful still, and we realize the long odds. We do need a miracle, and miracles can happen, and so we're hoping for one. And
another birthday, another Christmas without her. 2 young sons who don't know where their mother is, and a family desperately seeking answers because they know someone knows something.
For other people out there are becoming interested. The family and the people that are investigating, the private investigators, it's been active the whole time.
Mike Knable says his daughter never met a stranger and helped so many people. He believes her kindness will come full circle and bring her home.
Andrea's own actions have kept this case alive and created this story. And, we're happy and thankful for everyone locally.
Okay. Wow. I really feel for Erin. And Eda, you were saying that they need to put flyers up in Lexington just in case she's on the streets. I'm almost positive that her flyer's probably up there, but you're right. Next time I'm up that way, I think I might take a stroll around and put up a couple. I mean, even down in South Central Kentucky, we have got one at a truck stop down here. So, yeah. But definitely Lexington would be an area. It's not too far-fetched to think if someone was on the streets, they would be there, because unfortunately, last time I was up there, there is a bit of a homeless problem. I don't want to call it a problem. Well, yeah, it is a problem that people are homeless, that no one should have to live like that. But you know what I'm saying, guys. I don't mean to say it in a disrespectful way to nobody. Okay. I guess I'm just going to see what else I can dig up on Google here. I definitely will. I'll have some soon. Because her face needs to be everywhere. Absolutely needs to be everywhere. Let's see. I know over the years there's been several remains found, and I can't imagine how that makes her family feel every time. I'm sure they're relieved it's not her, but then like they've been on edge the whole time waiting to see. I couldn't imagine. Yeah, a lot up in that area. I've seen a lot of them on the streets, and it's odd because I never used to see homeless people in Kentucky. And I know that sounds crazy, guys, but I'm telling you, 10 years ago, I didn't even realize that homelessness was a problem like it is. It just took a while to get over to us, I guess. We're over here in the Bible Belt, so here's one after 4 years. And I noticed in the article they were talking something about drugs, so I wonder if in the beginning, if that was the belief, that it was because of that, and now they see that there was more to it. So they update flyers around Louisville, it says. That's just about them updating the flyers. Let's see what else we can find. Yeah, those remains that were found in June. I wonder who those ended up being. I wonder if it ever came out. If any of you are still in here at the end of this, remind me and I'll look and see. Missouri's had a homeless problem for years. It breaks my heart because I know not everyone, anybody surely don't want to. I know that I've seen documentaries where they say people choose to live the transient lifestyle. I feel for anybody because right now it's cold outside where I'm at, and anybody that's having to be homeless, they're cold. I don't care how many blankets they got, I know they're cold. Here, let's watch this video. And this is from LEX18, who is going to be at DJ's Vigil. Can't wait for that, to get him some more news coverage. If it will play for us. Pause it for a minute, and maybe it'll load up a little bit. I don't have the best connection where I live at, unfortunately.
As we join you tonight, questions are swirling in Garrett County about.
I didn't pause it for long enough. So he said in Garrett County. I can't remember. I know that there was some remains found in January of 2023, and I remember seeing her family post about it, that they were waiting for word from the medical examiner's office. And then I remember these from June, and I'm sure there's been more that I just didn't see or I don't remember.
Whose remains were found over the.
Okay, yeah. We'll just read, guys. I can't do that. Can't do it. So, in Lancaster, Kentucky, the Knable family has been searching for daughter and sister Andrea Knable for nearly 4 years. On Sunday, Kentucky State Police reported that they were contacted about human remains found off Kentucky Highway 39. Kentucky State Police say the remains were found off of Crab Orchard Road in Garrett County. Right now, the remains have been transported to the state medical examiner's office, and they say that they hope to identify the remains over the next couple of days. Michael says, every time I see one of them, there's so many in these cities with the drug wars and cultures going on, and it's heartbreaking. And I think about my case. And then I relate to all these other parents that are involved in these shootings, murders, overdoses. It's just really sad. Since Andrea went missing, this family has turned their experience into action. Andrea's sister, Erin Knable, has been able to work with other families in the state and surrounding area to find their missing loved ones. It's a beautiful thing, Erin, a very beautiful thing. She said, that's your goal. It's just to turn into something, make it mean something, because Andrea, she meant everything to me. She still does. And I feel like almost she can live on through me, helping other people. I feel like this is what she would want me to do. Now, as investigators work to identify this person whose remains were found in Garrett County, the Knable family hopes that other families stay positive. Erin says, try to stay positive and think that it's not their loved one until they get more information. That's really what I hold on to. Oh, I couldn't imagine. Anybody that has a sister, I'm sure you can't either. This family is taking what they've learned in their difficult process to help other families reconnect with their loved ones. The Knables are asking anyone with additional information to contact the Louisville Metro Police 502-574-7120 or the family tip line at 502-806-4840. For more information about Andrea Knable's story can be found on Facebook here, and that'll take you to the Finding Andrea Facebook group. I agree with that, Connie. I agree that most addicts have outside things going on that causes it. And yeah, the housing situation, it's a bad situation to be in. I feel so fortunate to own my own home. I don't know how people afford rent. It would be so scary to have to go rent a place or even have to take out a new mortgage or anything these days. It breaks my heart too. It definitely does. I have sisters, and I could not imagine, especially if it was right after you set a boundary like she did with one. I can imagine that has to cause a lot of feelings. It would for me. But, So before I forget, I have to know about these remains in Garrett County. I have to see if they ever identified that person. So let's pull up a Google tab. And let's see if we can find out who that was without taking too much attention off Andrea here. I don't want to talk tonight. Huh. Lordy B. There we go. Having great landlords mean a lot. Luckily, my family that I know that rents, they rent off very good people too. Okay, so it was a 47-year-old Glenn Cadell. Let's see. There was another one that I seen that was from January. And I know it wasn't her. I just remember that they had connected and said that they were, yeah, here it is. It's in the Courier Journal, and it is from January the 22nd of 2023. Human skeletal remains was found in Bull County. Do not belong to Andrea Knable, family says. Let's see if it says who they were. So those remains were found on a farm, and the woman seems to have been deceased for 3 to 5 years. The detective working Andrea's case was made aware too. We will check back with them when they have more info. Dental records of Andrea's are similar to these remains. Wow. I bet that one put them on the edge of their seat. Okay. Okay, this seems to have a little different, not different detail, but more maybe than was on Uncovered. So let's read this. They tell you who Andrea was in this article at the end. I love living in a small town too. I've lived in larger areas, but it just wasn't the same. Definitely not the same. I live in a place a lot smaller than Louisville, where Andrea was from, a lot smaller than that. I'm very glad it was not her. Andrea is one that I hold out hope for, that, and I don't hope nothing on nobody, but I hope she's still alive. And I think that there is hope that she's still alive, because like her dad said, they haven't found any proof that she is or isn't. So why would you carry on life like she is? You wouldn't. It says Knable has been missing since August 13th of 2019, when she was last seen walking along the 4000 block of Fincastle Road near Audubon Park and Camp Taylor neighborhoods at around 1 a.m. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull up a Google map and put that in so we can look at it later, because I like to see what the areas looks like. Take me just a second, guys. Maybe I should start pulling all this up when I come on here to dig with you guys ahead of time, so you all ain't waiting in the silence. But I appreciate your all's patience that stick with me. 4000 block of Finn and Castle. 4000. Okay. So I'll go ahead and share this. This is the area that she was last seen in here. In just a second. So she was seen in this 4000 block area of Fincastle Road. It looks like a pretty heavy populated area. Given the time of night, though, that's probably why no one's come forward saying they've seen anything, because it's quite possible nobody really seen who she left with or which way she went, given the time it was. But it looks like a pretty heavily populated neighborhood. That's okay, Connie. That's okay. Me and you'll sit here and talk. I like talking to you. So give me a second and I'm going to pull back up the article. Well, let's see, is this the one? Nope. That was not the one. Sorry, guys. There we go. So we seen where she was last seen walking around 1 a.m. And we also know from the Uncovered that they had tracked her cell phone data to be around her mother's house. Knable's case gained a following when Erin Knable began posting about the disappearance on Facebook. Her case has also been featured on an Investigation Discovery episode, as well as Discovery Plus, which aired a 4-part docuseries on the incident, which I will be watching tonight. I'm definitely going to watch that while I'm up tonight. I have a little night owl toddler who's going to keep me up till about 8 a.m. in the morning, so I'm going to have something to do with my time anyways. 2 years since her disappearance, the family of a Louisville mom, Andrea Knable, isn't giving up. Anyone who may have information about this investigation is asked to contact the Kentucky State Police Post 7 at 859-623-2404. Wow. We'll have to look at a more recent flyer to see where people contact, and at the end here, I'll let you guys know for sure where you need to contact and where tips need to go. Okay. And we could go over there and look and see how far the 1.5 mile and what her walk was like, but I almost feel like I'm imposing on someone else's privacy when I do that, because Erin is so active in the missing community. And I know I should treat everyone's privacy that way, but I don't want to be trying to act like I'm finding somebody's house because I have no clue where it's at and I don't have any desire to know. So I think it's just important to note that it looked like a well-populated neighborhood. But given the time, I'm sure, no one was out. Here's it. Oh, it's not sharing my screen. Sorry, guys. Let's go see what else we can find now. I haven't went to YouTube yet. I know there's a lot of stuff on YouTube on Andrea. See what this one is.
Share the Love really melded really easily into what we do all the time. We'll just get back to
It has been 4 years since a Louisville mother disappeared, and her family is not giving up hope. Today, family and friends of Andrea Knable gathered at Hess Lane and Pindle Avenue and handed out updated flyers regarding her disappearance. She was last seen walking in Audubon Park in the Camp Taylor neighborhoods around 1 a.m. August 13th of 2019. Through the years, many people have called in thinking they saw Knable, but none have revealed her whereabouts.
When somebody says they have her, that's different than we may have seen her. They had her there presently, and there's been several of those, but they simply disappear into thin air, as many others have.
If you know anything, call the Knable tip line at the number on your screen. That is 502-806-4840. You can also call LMPD.
tonight.
Oh, wow. I bet that is frustrating as the family of the missing, for people to tell you that they have your loved one with them and then ghost you. I mean, that takes a special kind of piece of shit. I mean, I understand if somebody has a misidentification, that's fine, but stick around to tell the family. Don't just ghost them, don't get their hopes up to just leave them wondering, because even though they probably know that that's just somebody messing with them after they ghost them, in the back of their mind, it still wonders if it was something legitimate, or it would in mine. Okay. Let's see what else we can find here. We'll scroll a little bit further down and then I'll go over to YouTube and see what's going on over there under her. Looks like they had a gathering for her 4th anniversary. We've seen that. Let's see. That says medium. Unless the family, I know that they dabble with that, I don't put that on their missing loved one or any part anywhere around them, because I respect everybody's right to choose if they believe in something like that or not. And whether I do or not doesn't matter when it's somebody else's family, is what I think. Let's see. Let me go to YouTube here. Looks like Purple's live. And Web's loose. Huh. They weren't live when I come live, because I looked earlier. I guess I missed it when they scheduled it. I came live because I couldn't find nothing to watch. Oh, she's so pretty. Oh, it looks like there's some new eyes on her case 2 years ago. Let's see what this is. I bet the investigators changed.
So you think you know Wix. Do you really? First up, we've got Shake Video Mask.
Only tonight here on the night team. You've likely seen the flyers stapled on Louisville telephone poles and other places showing pictures of missing Louisville mother Andrea Knable. The Unsolved team covered Andrea's case just last year, and tonight they have a new update. A new set of eyes discovering a discrepancy in the timeline for the last night Andrea was seen alive, as Shay McAllister shows us.
Gentlemen, it's been 7+ weeks since my family was assured that this case that the case of my missing daughter, Andrea Knable, was described as open and active.
Mike Knable sent this email to LMPD on the morning of our interview.
Sadly, none of the plan described has even begun as far as we can tell.
Yet another attempt, he says, to contact the agency tasked with uncovering what happened to his missing daughter.
I told them that we're discovering things that they may not know that could really help them. And I would at least like some communication to talk to them about it. I think they've got their own plan and their own system, and maybe a distraught father of a daughter that's been gone 19 months isn't part of that.
Knable has been hands-on every step of this search since the first night his 37-year-old daughter, Andrea, went missing in August of 2019.
We are beaten up, yes, but we don't feel like we're beaten, and we feel like we're strong enough to see this to the end. We hope we are.
He says the family finds strength in new developments in her case. The most recent came after a new set of eyes started asking questions.
My name is Joe Fanchuli. I'm a retired homicide detective.
The detective found a Facebook group for missing people. That led him to Andrea.
I met Andrea's family and volunteered to help, to basically go in and look at this as a cold case, go back to the beginning, redo everything.
In the days after Andrea first disappeared, investigators used her computer to create a Google timeline, tracking her final movements before her cell phone went dark. That's where the detective started.
Cool.
When I looked at them, they weren't quite complete.
Following Andrea's trail, he discovered a discrepancy, finding she wasn't at her mom's house until 6:30 a.m., like originally thought.
What?
We don't know where Andrea was from 3:53 on.
He says the difference of 3 hours is huge, and already more people are speaking out with new information.
So we're turning over a lot of rocks and we're poking a lot of hornets' nests, and it's starting to bring out more information now than I think the family has had in the last year and a half, and that's a good thing.
But is it enough? Andrea's family worried without
I
collaboration.
think they did, Connie. I think they did say that something about different personalities. But don't hold me to that. But it feels, we'll look though after this. We'll look and see if we can get some clarification on it. I hate to say and not know, but I feel like I heard them say earlier that she was having some kind of personality issue where she had several.
Collaboration from LMPD, the new leads may end up going cold.
We don't feel let down. We are let down. But I'm not sure who to blame exactly.
Despite his disappointment with local law enforcement's efforts, he ends his latest attempt for answers with gratitude.
My family enthusiastically support your efforts and thanks you for what you've done for the community. Signed, Mike Knable and family.
Another update to this investigation, the family has launched a new anonymous tip line. You can see it at the bottom of your screen. They're urging anyone with any information to call that number. As for LMPD and the complaints from the family about a lack of communication, we tried to call and email to get more information, but haven't heard back. For Focus, I'm Shay McAllister.
I started at Purdue.
So I thought that was really cool how they showed where they traced her with her cell phone. And that was a kind of jaw-dropping discovery about that she went back to her mom's until 6 a.m. Wow. So let's see about the personalities, Connie, because I'm not sure either on that. So maybe I can look up her mental state. I don't know. Okay. Let me share my screen, I guess. You might want to see what I'm doing. Might want to read along here. Okay, it says Missing in America Network. Let's go see what they have to say. The artwork looks so familiar. I can't place it though. It says tells when she went missing and tells what her sister's been doing about her advocacy online. Case details. Let's see how their timeline looks. So Andrea was 37 at the time of her disappearance in August of 2019, living in her mother's home in the Audubon Park neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky. She had some financial hardships was why. We know about the bathroom situation and why mom wasn't living there. So at 9 p.m. on the 12th, Andrea's mother left to go to her friend's house. And then Andrea went to the ER. 9:50, Ethan dropped Andrea off at the ER. 11:34, she took a lift back to her mom's house and couldn't get inside. So she walked to Erin's house. On the 13th at midnight, she arrived at Erin's house and they talked. At 1 a.m., Erin's friend stayed with her children while she drove Andrea back to the mom's house. When Erin returned home, her friend left and she went to sleep. 1:30 to 2 a.m., Andrea made several phone calls to friends looking for a ride. So she was looking for a ride. 1:30 a.m. approximately, Andrea returned to Erin's house saying the door at their mother's house was locked, so she couldn't get in. Erin talked to her again for a few minutes. At 11:38 a.m., Andrea left to walk back to her mother's again, and this was the last contact that the family had with Andrea. Google dashboard shows she made it back to her mom's house, and according to Erin, the rest is evolving and currently under further investigation. And I'd say that that's put in there because of what the private investigator, found. Well, I'm glad you were getting some rest, Loves to Lurk. It's good to see you. Other facts and details. So here it is. Andrea's mental health. Andrea was struggling to get back on her feet after the financial hardships. She had possibly turned to drugs or was having a mental health crisis. The family was in the process of trying to get her some help when she disappeared. We hear that all too often too, don't we? Man. So that answers our question, Connie. They didn't know if it was drugs or a mental health crisis, but one or the other was happening. She wasn't in a good state of mind. And any of us that's had hardships before, especially financial hardships, we know that does not leave you in a good state of mind in itself. So, I guess it's not even known if drugs was the issue. All right. It says down here, Missing in America volunteer. Not to confuse it with the Missing in America network. Andrea was a volunteer with an organization to help find a missing persons. Missing in America, which is no affiliation with our Missing in America network, is what it says on here. So this says, while it's unknown if that had anything to do with her disappearance, the family does not believe that was a contributing factor because she was not actively working a missing persons case at the time of her disappearance. Let's see. Let's go ahead and go through these other tabs. The technology trail. Andrea's cell phone was never found. Her credit and debit cards have never been used. There have been no solid leads or tips to try and help determine where she could be. The LMPD has possession of Andrea's laptop and her social media accounts. Investigation. The LMPD conducted an in-depth search of Andrea's mother's home and property. They had interviewed all family members, including Sarah and Ethan. Polygraphs. Mike and Erin have offered to take polygraphs for the LMPD, but it has never been scheduled. It is unknown if Ethan and Sarah have ever been asked or offered to take polygraphs. Only LMPD would know the answer to this, so no one else would know that. I'm sure like this one, rumors get stirred around, so they have to be cleared. Ethan and Sarah have chosen not to be actively involved in the search for Andrea. It would be speculation for any person to state the reason for this. I'd say they get heck. So they just decided to do, I don't know. I shouldn't assume nothing. It happens to all of us, Connie. Sometime or another, it happens to every one of us. Investigation Discovery on January 1st, 2022. Investigation Discovery aired a 4-part series, Finding Andrea, which I'll be watching tonight. This documentary was heavily edited and created a narrative which led way to follow up episodes in a way that was deceiving to the true facts surrounding Andrea's disappearance. Lots of questions come from this docuseries. Please see frequently asked questions for answers. Oh man, so I guess I'll have to remember that when I'm watching it, that people out there believe it's not the best information. I've never seen it. Has anybody in here? Well, you go walk that baby. And he's got a potty, I'd say. Okay, well. I'm still going to watch Finding Andrea tonight. I still got to have something to do. I think we've pretty much, there's one for 3 years, but it's not going to say anything different than what we've already looked over. So that's the rundown of Andrea's case. Anybody have anything to add to it that I might have left out? If not, what I'm going to do real quick beforehand, pictures at the bottom, let me see. Let me share it again. We'll go back over there. That's how far down I looked. Lord. Oh, that's the frequently asked questions and facts. So let's see. I can't even get it to zoom in, I don't guess. Let me try to figure out how to get it to where I can read it. Oh, there's all the missing flyers. I'll be grabbing some of them. Well, I would love to read the frequently asked questions to you guys, but I can't because the screen's so small I can't see it. And they don't blow up. They don't zoom in. Let's see. Let me scroll to the end and see if that helps. Nope. Okay. I tried. I tried to see them. Promise. Okay. So you guys know that I follow the child's remains that were found in Virginia, right? I wanted to check while we was live here. That's one thing I want to dig tonight too. I want to just check and see if there was anything that to update it. I know that if I'm not mistaken, last time we looked, it was a male. So we did have a little bit of an update. We just never know when they're going to. That's not it. Here it is, Carroll County. Give it a second here. Okay, let me find something up to date because that doesn't even have that it's a male child. And I hope my heater ain't too loud for you guys. Let's go on into Namus because that's going to be the most. Oh, well, I guess that was the one. Let's see. It should have it updated. Okay, so it says that the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and Carroll County Fire and Rescue were originally. Oh, let me get this off the screen. Were originally dispatched on September 6, 2022, after a citizen called in believing that they may have found human remains in Iron Ridge. Okay, yeah. So nothing's changed in regards to the original information. However, a recent report released this month on the NamUs federal website offers additional details on the remains discovered. According to the report, the skeletal remains of a young child were found in a trash can in a wooded area. The report states the remains are from a pre-adolescent child with an estimated age range of 4 to 7 years. The report also states an estimated pre-mortem interval, or the time elapsed since death, of 5 years. No, this is old because it says the report lists the gender as unsure, and that's not the case now. We know that. I thought that was NamUs, but I just seen NamUs, so went for it. Here. Let's just go ahead and find it on NamUs. Here we go. So it's unidentified person 99035. I'm going to write that down so I can find it later. Okay. Let's let it load, I guess. It's like me, it's slow loading. Okay, so as you all know, that's the blanket, the pieces of the blanket that were found. That's what it would have looked like. I think some web sleuths went on and found this to be the 2010 era and like sold in the southeastern United States. I don't know. It was crazy what those sleuths found. We'll try to find it. Okay, so estimated age range is 4 to 7 years. Estimated PMI is 5 years, and we know that's the time since death. So 6 years now, because that was in 2022. So 6 years now. 6 years ago, a 4 to 7 year old male and a white male. Wow, they finally updated the race. Before, the race wasn't updated either. So we know that it's a boy, a white boy. We don't know any height or weight though. So a 4 to 7 year old white male who would have been murdered 6 years ago, or I don't even want to say murdered, that would have passed 6 years ago. Guess we don't know what happens until more reports come out, huh? Well, that's exciting. So that narrows it down some more. I can't think of one child that fits that description, not one. Which I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't from far off from there, you know? Wasn't even around that area. Let me see here. Okay, guys. Well, as far as that goes, that's all I have for tonight. I wanted to come on and talk about Andrea for a minute and see if any of those remains were identified, and then that's that. Looks like all of that. I will be back on probably tomorrow, but if not, it will be Sunday or the beginning of next week, because Saturday I have the DJ Witt vigil to do, and that will be taking place in Liberty, Kentucky at their courthouse. We're going to be right there. I guess you would call it the Doughboy. You'll see all the candles and posters, and that's where we'll be at. Anybody in the area or can make it to the area, we would love to have you. We're just going to, try to raise a little awareness in the community that he is still missing. Well, and now he's Casey County's top 10 most wanted as well, but that's a story for another night. We won't get into that. But guys, don't forget Andrea. If you have a channel, pop her story on it. I'm sure Erin would appreciate to see it. We can't let her get quiet, guys. I don't think I've heard things about her. She probably wouldn't, she was an advocate. Let's advocate for her as well. It's the right thing to do. Ada, I'm sure they have, but who knows, who knows? But that's a good question. And that's one that I'll pass along to somebody who may know more about it. I'm not even sure if it's even been thought of as that. But if it was 6 years ago, that would be 2017. And close enough, right? Wow. I never thought about that, but it can be asked. That's outside of, I can't think of any 6+ years ago that would be white and 4 to 7 years old. But maybe that's something that we can come back on and dig next time, is who that could possibly be. I just don't want to do it. I want to try to keep this geared as much towards Andrea if I can. But yeah, guys. So I'll be back on later on this week or early next week. And I appreciate everybody stopping by that did. Connie, thank you for the good conversation. And thank you everyone else for the great conversation. And I will see you guys next time.